awful cover-up at the Veterans Administration. Its mental health director insisting fewer than 800 military personnel attempted suicide last year. The same man in private in an email even bearing the remarkable admonition, shh, admitting the number of suicide attempts last year was not 800, but more like 12,000. Our fourth story on the countdown, even as one of its hospitals closed its psychiatric ward after a fourth vet killed himself there, the VA is still treating the crisis with denial or deception or both. Last November, CBS News exposed the shockingly high number of vets committing suicide or attempting it, but the chief mental health officer of the VA, Dr. Ira Katz, vigorously denied it.
There is no epidemic of suicide in VA.
Then, earlier this year, the VA released data claiming that only 790 veterans had attempted suicide in 2007. Yet Dr. Katz's own correspondence, written shortly thereafter, belied that release. In a forwarded email titled, "Not for the CBS News interview request," Dr. Katz writes, "Shh, our suicide prevention coordinators are identifying about 1,000 suicide attempts per month among the veterans we see in our medical facilities. Is this something we should carefully address ourselves in some sort of release before someone stumbles on it?" And compounding that, after he criticized CBS News for reporting last year that there were more than 6,200 veteran suicides in 2005 alone, he then wrote another email 3 days later that read in part, quote, "There are about 18 suicides per day among America's 25 million veterans. This follows from CDC findings that 20% of suicides are among veterans. It is supported by the CBS numbers." Joining me now, Paul Rieckhoff, Executive Director of Iraq and Afghanistan Veterans of America. Great, thanks for your time again tonight, Paul.
My pleasure.
Dr. Katz is denying that there's any cover-up here. He says the numbers were not released because of consistency and accuracy concerns. Do you believe him?
No. He started his message with shh.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that says it all. It doesn't pass the smell test. It's clear that we've got a very serious problem with suicides across this country, and specifically with Iraq and Afghanistan vets. There have been 283 between 2001 and 2005 alone. Anybody who's been in the military, all my friends, know someone who's committed suicide. It is a growing problem. It's a serious problem. And this is a great challenge for the new VA Secretary, Peake. He inherited a heck of a mess here from his predecessor, much like Secretary Gates did at the Department of Defense. And this is a challenge to him. He's got to step up and deal with this aggressively.
More shocking than that misrepresentation, or whatever we want to call it, there are other facts here that go hand in glove with this. 300,000 Iraq and Afghanistan vets, either with clinical depression or post-traumatic stress disorder. The suicide rate among veterans is anywhere from 3 to 7 times higher than the rest of the country, and this number of suicide attempts at 1,000 a month. Why are the numbers so terrifyingly high?
I would say it boils down to because the fact our country is not ready to receive these people, Keith. We've sent 1.7 million people to war in Iraq and Afghanistan since 9/11. Hundreds of thousands of them are coming home with serious mental health problems. This RAND study that came out last week verifies it. We're past the point of canaries in the coal mine. Everybody knows that there are serious mental health issues across the veterans population, and we're not taking care of them. There are backlogs at the VA. The average claim takes 183 days, and it's not a proactive system. I'm actually grateful to see that the VA next month is going to start reaching out. They're going to be proactive. They listen to groups like IAVA and other veterans groups who've been banging away on this for years, and they're going to start now reaching out and being proactive. That's the key. We've got to reach out to veterans, let them know that there's help available, and provide that help when they come forward and ask for it.
Can you get the point across to them when you talk to these people, as I know you do, that 183 days in response to a mental health issue is the same as 183 days if a guy had an arm fallen off and was losing blood for 183 days? And is that point intelligible to the VA?
We try our best.
Yeah,
but I think the reality is that we need everybody in America to tell the VA. We need everybody in America to tell the president. We need everybody in America to tell all the presidential candidates that veterans issues, mental health care specifically, and the growing rate of suicide is a top priority for this country. These folks have served our country honorably, and when they come home, they deserve the care and resources that we can afford them. There are no excuses. At this point, there are no excuses. It should be apparent to everyone.
All right, chime in here. John McCain has refused to sign on to Senator Webb's GI Bill, the new GI Bill that has so much bipartisan support, and has his own legislation which he says rewards those who stay in the military. Give me your assessment on this. How does it measure up to the new GI Bill?
It doesn't. Not even close. Senator Webb and Senator Hagel, Senator Warner, 57 senators from both parties have put together S-22, the new GI Bill that puts us on a World War II-style GI Bill. This is going forward. More than half the House is behind it. Every major veterans organization in the country. It's time for John McCain and the other senators to get on the bus, not build their own bus. And we need everybody in America to go to GIBill2008.org, find out if your senator or congressman are on there, and if they're not, give them a call.
Bus with three wheels, by the way.
Yeah.
Paul Rieckhoff, Executive Director of Iraq and Afghanistan Veterans